own all the jobs in Canada.
Hey, Toronto, this is not...
Because our government decided to temporarily spike our debt to GDP ratios by mass importing people.
This is what it looks like to leave, because Canada's fucked.
But here's the behind the scenes. Look at this.
Canada is fucking cooked, guys.
Oh, hey, Canada. I'm gonna need you to wake up.
Mass migration has destroyed Canada.
Inflation is slowly rising because of how unconscious we all are right now.
What the fuck, Canada? This is so grim.
Canada is dead.
Absolutely disgusting. I do not understand how Canadians want to be punished.
Welcome to the Canadian Rant. Look around, this is the new Canada, and it's falling apart right in front of us. The country that once stood for hope, safety, and dignity now feels like it's slipping into chaos. Every street, every neighborhood, every city is showing the cracks. You can see the decline, you can feel the difference. The old port of Montreal, once full of beauty, energy, and pride, now looks dirty, abandoned, run down. And that's not just Montreal. It's happening everywhere. Families are paying more and getting less. People working full-time can't afford life. Crime is rising, homelessness is exploding, addiction is out of control. Canada is not being destroyed quietly, it's happening in the open. And the saddest part? They think we'll stay silent. They think we won't push back. They think Canadians are too tired to care. But if we don't speak now, the country we love will vanish right before our eyes. So today, we are not staying silent. We're talking about the hard truth. Because if we don't, no one else will. This is our home, and we are done watching it crumble without a fight.
I don't know about you, but I'm fucking pissed. Anyone else with me on this? What the fuck is wrong with Canada? Do you think it's gonna get any better? I don't think it will. We're fucked.
This is what it looks like to leave, because Canada's fucked. Sorry. Breaking the news to ya.
Hey, Toronto, this is not Canada no more, bro. Where am I? I don't even know where I am. I swear down, this is we're in India right now. I'm telling you, bro. No cap. This is India, fam. This is no joke. Come down, Dundas. You're gonna see different things going on.
We Indians are stealing all the jobs. We own all the jobs in Canada.
Foreigners from India throwing their trash in Canadian lakes, beaches, woods and rivers.
So here we are in the old port of Montreal. Little tourist destination. People come here, take pictures, act all happy. But here's the behind the scenes. Look at this. What the hell is going on over here? I guess you're gonna blame the immigrants for this also and say Canada has fallen. It's not even garbage day. Like, what is this shit? It's Thursday afternoon. Tourist hotspot. Like, this is what people do these days. You see a statue of Maisonneuve chilling and they're like, yo, oh look, a giant garbage place. How do you even describe this? Where's the city officials? Where's the cleanup crew? I'm not trying to get anybody fired or some shit, but there's some work to do over here. Like, this is disgusting. It makes zero sense. I'm actually confused. You won't even find this shit like in the village in Pakistan. It makes no sense. Come on now.
Mass migration has destroyed Canada. Here are the 5 ways that happened and how 1BC is going to fix it. 1. Wages and jobs. More foreign workers means more job competition against Canadians. That means fewer jobs available and smaller paychecks. 2. Healthcare. Emergency rooms are packed. Wait times are up to 14 hours and dozens have even shut down. 1 million British Columbians don't even have a family doctor. 3. Traffic. Roads are flooded with commuters and bridges grind to a halt. 4. Housing. Millions of newcomers compete against Canadians for homes. Rent prices soar and square footage shrinks. 5. Cultural degradation. As we import more foreigners, Canada becomes less Canadian. Crowds chant death to Canada. English and French are cast aside. Our flag is burned. The serenity of life in Canada that we once knew has been destroyed. Our immigration policy has been a disaster, but it doesn't have to be this way. Here are the 4 fixes. 1. An immediate suspension of immigration into Canada. 2. A full stop on all visa renewals. 3. The deportation of all individuals who are not lawfully in our country. If you aren't a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident, you have to go home. We want British Columbians to have access to well-paying work, a culture we are proud to defend, incomes that keep rising, and housing you can actually afford. Cities with safe streets and schools. Join me in the fight for British Columbia and the beginning of a Canadian Renaissance.
Well, folks, how are we now? Absolutely disgusting. I do not understand how Canadians want to be punished again for 4 or 5 more years. I don't understand. My kids, I mean, that's going to put some of my children close to 30 years old by the time this is done, and they're still not going to own a goddamn house. They're still going to live at home with me. The cost of living is going to go up. Taxes are going to go up. Carbon tax is coming back. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. It's coming. Man, you libtards, what the fuck? How did you... I understand the I'm okay, fuck you syndrome, but let's go. Come on. I don't care about anyone's beliefs or anything. I just wanted equality across the board. We're not getting that. This sticks with the minority, like the people that... Doesn't even matter. Fuck. Still support you, Pierre. The guy I volunteered for got in, but that doesn't change much.
Oh, Canada, the place where you are no longer free. Welcome to the new Canada, guys, where you have lost your liberty, you've lost your freedom, you aren't allowed to create jobs, you aren't allowed to create new opportunities. In fact, you aren't even allowed to work unless you work for the government or a low-paying oligopoly. This is the new Canada, guys. Enjoy it. It is what our government wanted. It is what the WEF wanted for the people all over this world, and our government is executing on it flawlessly. Canada is no longer the free country that it used to be. It is a completely new place where socialism and communism sets in, and we lost our right to follow our own dreams and carve our own path. Embrace it, guys, because guess what? This is here to stay. This is here to stay unless the people, the spiritually awoken people of this country, come together by the millions and fight back and remind our politicians what Canada used to be and what it needs to get back to being again. Let's come together, guys. Let's come together and save the Canadian dream. We are at a pivotal point in our nation's history, and something must be done. And it's the people, the open-minded people, the people that want to maintain their freedom must rise and come together and fight back to save the Canadian dream. Join me on this journey, guys. Follow me on TikTok. Let's connect and let's work together to save the Canadian dream. I'll see you in the next video.
Canada is fucking cooked, guys. The amount of comments that I see in my videos about how Canada is the best place on earth, you pay your taxes, your 50% just for your healthcare to have better living. It is all such a lie, and it's made for you to pay your taxes. It's all just basically one big psyop. Once you move countries, once you actually experience life and what it's like in a country where the cost of living is under $1,000 for a decent place, the dating is 10 times better, and overall a healthier lifestyle, then you will not go back to the West.
What the fuck, Canada? This is so grim. It came out that more than 23,000 Canadians died waiting for medical care last year. And that's an increase of 3% year over year. And by the way, we're at over 100,000 people since 2018 who've died waiting for care. The worst offenders are, no surprise, Ontario #1 and Quebec #2. And then after that, you have the list of the other provinces. And before you come at me saying that we need to spend more money on healthcare to fix this issue, wrong, because we are at an all-time high, historical high of $244 billion a year spending. By the way, this represents $6,000 per person per year, which is an increase of threefold over what it was in 1990. We rank as one of the highest per capita medical spending in the G7, and yet we fall behind everyone in terms of doctors per capita, MRI machines per capita, beds per capita. And of course, our wait times are some of the highest in the developed world. And let that be a cautionary tale to the Americans who look up north thinking that our single-payer healthcare system is the best. Guys, you have it much better down there. And don't let Canadians who are brainwashed into thinking they have the best system ever tell you otherwise. Canada falls behind Germany, Switzerland, France, Sweden, Finland in terms of healthcare, and we pay more than all of them. And to Canadians, it's about time you wake up. The system is completely screwed up. And guess what? It ain't getting any better.
Canada is basically the warning label that nobody else in the world is actually paying attention to right now. Canada has the least affordable housing in the G7. Not only because our government decided to temporarily spike our debt to GDP ratios by mass importing people, even though we had absolutely no room for them or infrastructure, but because the government cooked the market. Thanks to them refusing to build and importing 1 million people a year without planning, housing is now considered a luxury item. We are drowning in debt. Canada's current economy is the exact example of what happens when globalists and ideology take over your nation, and they say things like spend less to invest more. However, you have nothing to show for it at all because they have hindered all of our other opportunities to actually make money. So when they say spend more, they mean give more subsidies so people stop leaving, and give more corporate bailouts, corporate welfare, so that they can convince and bribe people to operate in Canada without actually having to reverse any of their disastrous policies that make people allergic to investing in Canada in the first place. Free speech is basically on life support. We have more hate speech bills than anything else. There's absolutely no protections when it comes to diversity of thought, ideas, and actually expressing them online. They have bills in Parliament right now, which would actually grant the government powers for you to have your internet cut off if you are deemed a threat based on your speech and what you're doing on your computer. Again, always very loosely defined. It's for our safety, of course. Duh. Even though there's already laws in place to deal with that sort of stuff, they just don't act on them. In fact, we actually let criminals out of jail the same day that they're arrested half the time because it costs too much money to keep them incarcerated. Oh, and do you want to know what our country's main news source is? It is federally funded outlets who get promised even more money during election campaigns and get paid with taxpayer dollars throughout the year. In fact, they've used that as an excuse to protect Canadian identity while shutting out all other independent competitors and having a crazy unelected bureaucracy that actually gets to control and manipulate algorithms and what people see and are allowed to say online. You know what I think is really crazy though, is so many people still have this idea in their head that Canada is a strong, free, peaceful, stable nation. But while we're over here politely collapsing under all of our own failures, I just want you to take a moment to remember Canada and take it as a warning of this is what happens when you allow globalism to take over your country.
When you have the Bank of Canada governor come out and say that Canadians need to lower their standard of living, how do you not look at that and say, Mark Carney and this whole liberal project over the last 10 years has been a total and utter failure. Forget mass immigration, forget skyrocketing crime rates, forget that our housing market is in complete and total shambles. What else do you need to hear? And I already know what the liberals are going to say, and the Mark Carney fanboys and fangirls. They're going to say, well, it's Donald Trump's fault. We can't negotiate with this guy, and we're going to have to go through a rough patch. This was already an issue under Justin Trudeau, and Mark Carney is just making it much worse. Stop blaming other people like Donald Trump and other countries like the United States for our mess here in Canada, all right? Take some accountability. This is Canada we're talking about here. One of the most beautiful countries on the planet with natural resources coming out the wazoo. And we have to hear the Bank of Canada come out and tell us to lower our standard of living. That is unacceptable. Our standard of living should increase every single year in this country. They should not be lowered. The only reason why they're telling us to lower our standards is because of our incompetent leadership over the last 10 years in this country. And Canadians need to wake up. Stop voting for the destruction of this country.
I'm going to say something that a lot of people are going to really come at me for, but it needs to be said because too few people are saying it. Canada is dead. The fact that fireworks are going off for Diwali until 3 o'clock in the morning, but then we can't say Merry Christmas or have Christmas pageants in our school because it's considered offensive to other religions is so wrong. Come on, Canadians, if we're going to be inclusive to other people, we need to be inclusive to ourselves as well. The fact that the average Canadian family pays 42% of their wage in taxes is so wrong. And many more families are paying up to 52%. And a huge chunk of those taxes that you're paying is going towards paying illegals to come into the country and literally bum off of you. And I know people are going to say, but we get free services. No, you don't. You pay dearly for these free services that are literally failing. Education, medical care, our roads, they're garbage compared to other first world countries in the world who pay lower taxes. The fact that there is a class of people called the working poor who legitimately have jobs but can't afford to pay their rent is so wrong. They are living in tent cities. It's not that they want to live there, it's that they can't afford to because their wage is so low and rent is so high. Things like unemployment and homelessness are through the roof. And if you're lucky enough to be a homeowner, that might be short-lived. The government is flirting with the idea of taking more of your home equity tax or annexing your land that you privately owned because it might be on either government-owned land or Aboriginal-owned land, and apparently that trumps your private land. So really, you don't own anything. The fact that your free speech is being chipped away at daily is wrong. But that's what's happening. The ones who are awake are trying desperately to wake up the ones who aren't. And the ones who aren't are continuously voting people in who are continuously tanking Canada. Prosperity is short-lived in Canada. Most people are just surviving, not thriving. And that's not the Canada that I grew up in. It's why we made the tough decision to leave Canada so that we could give our family the best possible chance to have a great start in life. So that we could speak freely, own more property, and not have to pay government taxes that they just magically make up to make the world a better place or to save the world, aka carbon tax. Look at the massive brain drain that Canada is facing, and then ask yourself why this is happening. And if you think I'm out to lunch, look at the huge Canadian corporations that are moving down to the US.
I don't think people realize how fast inflation is slowly rising because of how unconscious we all are right now. For example, I worked at McDonald's for like 6 years, so I know the prices pretty well, right? Last year, a medium chocolate milkshake was $4.20, which is already pretty expensive. A year later, it is now $5.65. How the hell is 3 hash browns $9? Are you seriously trying to tell me 1 hash brown is $3 each? Yet they're already importing a shit ton of slave labor to cut down costs. 1 pound sack of potatoes is around $3. Canada grows a shit ton of potatoes in this country. There is no reason for prices to be this high. It makes absolutely no sense. And people forget every time you spend money, you're paying a little bit of that to the government. We have 40 million people in this country, all buying things all the time. So think about just in one day, how much tax revenue the government makes just by us spending. We're basically paying the government every single time we spend money, plus all the money they take off of our paychecks. And then when you find out that that money is going overseas for some LGBTQ $30 million tax haven project in Africa, you wonder why everyday people are getting upset and waking up. This government is so corrupt. They are taxing us to death. They are making things so expensive for the everyday working person. It is absolutely out of control now. People need to start thinking about the numbers and realizing this shit. That in itself will make you lean away from your left-leaning ideas of let's just spend more money. Let's throw more money at NGOs. Let's throw more money at government programs when you're not even thinking about all the money that they're already getting.
Oh, hey, Canada. I'm gonna need you to wake up. Because while we're politely suffering in silence, our country's being run into the ground with a smile and a slogan. Let's start with the cost of living, because it's a joke. Groceries, robbery. Rent, criminal. Mortgages, life sentences. Canadians work full-time and still drown. That's not an economy, that's slow financial suffocation. Immigration. Here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud, but I will. We don't hate newcomers, but we sure hate a government that opens the floodgates with zero housing, zero doctors, and zero plans. It's not compassion, it's chaos disguised as virtue. Housing, a complete disaster created by politicians, developers, and investors, treating homes like casino chips. Foreign buyers, Airbnb empires, endless red tape, and guess who pays the price? Regular Canadians who just want a damn place to live. Healthcare, falling apart. ERs closed, surgeries delayed, people suffering because the system is held together with duct tape and political talking points. They used to call it world-class healthcare. Not anymore. Energy. We're sitting on one of the richest resource bases on Earth. And instead of using it, Ottawa is busy strangling oil and gas while we import oil from dictatorships. Canada could be wealthy, but instead we're choosing to be weak. Debt? The numbers are so bad, they don't even bother pretending anymore. Spending like a drunk teenager with their parents' credit card, hoping nobody checks the bill. Online regulation. Bills C11, C18, C63. Ottawa wants to decide what you see, what you hear, and what you're allowed to post. If that doesn't scream control, you're not paying very close attention. Crime and safety. Repeat offenders in and out like it's a revolving door. Random attacks becoming normal. Open drug scenes everywhere. This isn't progress, it's collapse. And trust. She gone. She gone. Trust is gone. People don't trust the media, the government, the institutions, and honestly, they've earned that distrust. Canada is at a breaking point, not because Canadians are weak, but because our leaders are asleep, corrupt, or too scared to fix anything. This country deserves better. Our kids deserve better. Canadians deserve better. Pay attention. Speak up. Because if we keep pretending like everything is okay, we won't recognize this country in a few years. And not in a good way. That's all I have to say about that. Cheers.
I don't think people realize how fast inflation is slowly rising because of how unconscious we all are right now. For example, I worked at McDonald's for like 6 years, so I know the prices pretty well, right? Last year, a medium chocolate milkshake was $4.20, which is already pretty expensive. A year later, it is now $5.65. How the hell is 3 hash browns $9? Are you seriously trying to tell me 1 hash brown is $3 each, yet they're already importing a shit ton of slave labor to cut down costs? 1 pound sack of potatoes is around $3. Canada grows a shit ton of potatoes in this country. There's no reason for prices to be this high. It makes absolutely no sense. And people forget every time you spend money, you're paying a little bit of that to the government. We have 40 million people in this country, all buying things all the time. So think about just in one day, how much tax revenue the government makes just by us spending. We're basically paying the government every single time we spend money, plus all the money they take off of our paychecks. And then when you find out that that money is going overseas for some LGBTQ $30 million tax haven project in Africa, you wonder why everyday people are getting upset and waking up. This government is so corrupt. They are taxing us to death. They are making things so expensive for the everyday working person. It is absolutely out of control now. People need to start thinking about the numbers and realizing this shit. That in itself will make you lean away from your left-leaning ideas of let's just spend more money. Let's throw more money at NGOs. Let's throw more money at government programs when you're not even thinking about all the money that they're already getting.
So incredibly sad that we need this, but it's actually necessary. And Doug Ford wants to introduce surveillance cameras in Ontario communities to catch home invasions, suspects, and car thieves. Just to give you context, if you've never used Crime Map tool that's available online, I suggest you use it to get an idea of just how many break-ins there are in Peel, just Peel alone. This is just for this year. The map of Peel, that's Mississauga and Brampton, is just littered. 1,800 home invasions. That's how many break-in enters there are. And this is what the map literally looks like with all those home invasions. The B, that's just for break-ins. Simply break-ins. It doesn't matter what street you go to, no place in Peel is safe. I've literally heard from police officers who work for the region of Peel that said they would never live there. That's how bad it is. I'm sure you've heard of these guys here who were arrested in a Markham home invasion. They kidnapped someone and shot someone else. I have to be honest, this company here is probably the one I'm the most ashamed about. I have to be completely honest with you. I started this company called Durafilm. It literally fortifies the windows so people cannot break in, because that's what they do. They use hammers, sledgehammers. I've seen them use guns, try poking the hole through the glass because it just shatters. They stick their hand in and they unlock it. That security film is something that never should have existed, which now to me needs to be as common as having door locks in your home. Here's something else Canadians need to purchase to keep themselves safe. This plate here, it doesn't look like much, but this gets drilled into the floor. There's security film in here. If somehow they manage to break through, they're still not getting in the door even if the door's unlocked. Because this piece here is almost like a kick plate that keeps the door intact. And this is what the plate looks like. You see the 3 holes there where you drill it in and it slides in and out. And obviously in this example for you guys, so to show it to you, I haven't actually drilled it on this floor. But it literally, at nighttime, you slide it in, you slide it out. It's very simple, not expensive at all. You have to have these in all your doors. This is the reality of Canada. The Liberals, they want to focus on tabling laws and legislation to target hate symbols. Hate symbols. And yes, there are other things like protecting places of worship, which I do welcome. What we actually need are things like this, which they struck down. The Conservative Party put this 3 strikes law, put it up for a vote. 3 strikes, you stay in jail until trial. No more bail. The Liberals voted against it. Friends, the government isn't going to save you. Only you can help yourself.
No offense, ladies and gentlemen, but you want to know why Canada is dying? Because of Mark Carney. Mark Carney is the reason why Canada is dying. All these people out here that kept voting against the Conservatives, bro, look what happened to Canada. Canada's destroyed now. We have nothing. Our country is dying. You can smoke drugs anywhere you want in public. There's people out here that are scared to get carjacked when they don't want to get a Second Amendment to protect what's theirs. And I find that funny. All right, if you're so scared to get carjacked, bro, why don't you just get a gun? But no, because this country don't work like that. So Canada right now is going through a lot of stuff. And the problem is that drugs are on the rise, Christ's on the rise, crime is on the rise, and nobody is doing nothing to stop it, right? Nobody is doing nothing to stop it, bro. No offense, I am sick and tired of seeing people steal stuff, right? They'll steal a pair of Nike shoes, steal a pair of Adidas, but nobody will steal a pair of fucking work boots, right? Nobody out here will do that, dog. What pisses me off is that the government allows people to get high wherever they want, right? But if I drink a beer in public, I get arrested for that. That is so pathetic, dog. Like, there's something that needs to be done. I'm sick and tired of seeing my country die from the inside, bro. Immigrants come here, they get $6,000 a month. Bro, us citizens don't even get $2,000. Bro, I make so much money off my music and I have to get taxed for it, which really pisses me off to the fact that we can't do nothing to make our country better. We can't. All these people out here want to fucking just ruin our country and fucking steal shit and get high. Go fucking do something in your life, bro. You know what I'm saying? I had enough of the youth, bro. I had enough of these drug addicts. I had enough of these stupid people out here that keep voting the same fucking idiots in, bro. You wonder why Canada looks like this right now. You wonder why. It's because of the people we vote in. People are the most stupid. I'm sorry to say it, but people are fucking stupid, bro. People are stupid. Learn how to fucking see the difference between politics, bro. Because if we're going to continue with this, Canada is going to die. At some point, Canada is going to die, bro. I'm not saying we're going to get annexed from America. I'm not. But there is a time where if you ever look into something in history...
Canada is not gone, but it's slipping. And the most painful part is that it's happening while most of us are screaming for help and nobody in power is listening. We see the homelessness, the addiction, the crime, the collapsing healthcare, and the unaffordable life, and still we're told to just keep going like nothing is wrong. Meanwhile, the country that once made us proud now makes millions of us scared for our future. But here's the truth. A country doesn't collapse because of its people. A country collapses because its people stop speaking. And that's exactly why videos like this matter. Not because they're dramatic, not because they're trending, but because they tell the truth the government refuses to say out loud. Every time we talk about what's happening, every time we refuse to stay silent, we make it harder for the leaders to pretend everything is fine. Canada is built on the backs of ordinary people. People like you and me, workers, families, seniors, students, immigrants, the ones who sacrifice daily just to survive. And that means we have the power to demand better. We've been ignored, but we are not powerless. If millions of Canadians raise their voice, change becomes unavoidable. So don't let this message stop here. Keep it alive. If you're frustrated, if you're tired, if you're angry at what this country is turning into, don't just feel it. Say it. Let our leaders hear us. Let every Canadian know the truth of what's happening beyond the headlines and political speeches. And now I want to hear from you. Do you think Canada is falling apart, or do you think it can still be saved? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading every single one of them. Before you leave, please like this video, subscribe if you believe Canadians deserve better, and share this video so more people can see the reality we're living through. We can't fix a broken country by staying quiet, but together, we can force the truth into the spotlight. This is the Canadian Rant, and the fight for our country is only beginning.